Thank you so much for joining me for another 7 minutes with Matt. I honor your time, I value it, and I really appreciate you joining me today, and I'm getting right to it. When we talk about you don't have to cheat, and this is exactly what you think it is, you don't got to cheat on your spouse. You don't have to cheat. Eli and I were talking, and this is a very popular blog, and it talks about the top 6 reasons why men cheat. And I kind of want to throw this out, process it in your mind, see if you agree or disagree, and then, we'll talk, and this can be really quick, only 7 minutes. Number 1, the internet made it too easy. And it talks about how a lot of men have strayed from 2 decades ago because now they're finding it easy to have an affair online. So first reason they say is the internet made it too easy. Second reason is he has low self-esteem. Yes, men suffer from that. I would agree that is a reason why men cheat. They have low self-esteem. Number 3, he has relationship expectations that are unreasonable. I can say that I've never cheated, but I can say that is true because a lot of times in my mind, I think the night's going to go a certain way and I set up expectations, and when they don't happen, that thing comes out inside of me. It's like, I thought that was going to go down that way and that was going to happen, and it doesn't. So they say that's a reason. Number 3 is he thinks cheating is okay. I don't relate to that at all. You have to be really, really dumb or challenged in your mind to think that cheating is okay. That one's just dumb. Yes, it's true. Some men think cheating is acceptable as context religion includes affairs. If you entered in a relationship and you knew up front the guy thought cheating was okay, I would say you're equally as dumb. Sorry. I don't know how else to say that. Number 5, he wanted out. That is a tough one. And I also think that is a cheap excuse for cheating, is that he wanted out. And number 6, he has an addiction. I also think that's a cheap excuse because I have an addiction as well. I have a sex addiction. It's to my wife. I have an addiction to sex, and it's with my wife, Terry. And so those are what the internet says are the top 6 reasons why men cheat. I think most of us can agree. Eli and I were talking about before. I think the number 1 reason is selfishness, is everything in here is he thinks, he has, he says, he wanted. All of that comes back to him and himself. And when you're a believer, you deny yourself. That's the first prerequisite of following Christ. If you deny yourself, take up your cross and follow him, you deny yourself. You deny what you want. I think one of the biggest Christian book lies on the planet are his needs, her needs, because they're trying to biblically justify a man's needs and a woman's needs, and you can never truly fulfill those, right? I have things that I desire, like I desire admiration from my wife, for her, to tell me that I'm doing a good job, to tell me that I'm a good provider, to tell me that I'm a good lover. But if I set those expectations up for her and she doesn't tell me one day that I'm a good lover, or doesn't tell me that she's a great, that I'm a great provider and she appreciates me, then I'm setting her up for failure. And she's never going to meet the expectation that I put on her. So I think that is a lie as well, that his needs, her needs. I always go back to the word. Here's another cheap excuse that men have, and why I think you don't have to cheat is because the Bible tells you that you don't have to cheat. You don't have to cheat. You don't have to think of these reasons. Well, she doesn't give me enough sex. She doesn't tell me she loves me enough. We had more sex when she was 20 versus when she was 40. Yeah, dude, that was no kids and no problems ago, right? Like, I could give every excuse, and we're like, look at, when I take my wife away from the kids, which is why it's so important for you to go away by yourselves, away from the kids, because, dude, I get a different Terry Rogers. I almost get the 25-year-old Terry when I take her away from the kids, and that's refreshing. That's good. So what I mean by that is I can't use that as an excuse on why cheat. You don't have to cheat, right? I travel all along the world and I help people raise money, and I'm on stage, and, sometimes when I had hair, I'd have hair and makeup, and like at a time, like I look pretty good, and you get attention and women like, oh my gosh, you're so great. Thank you so much. If I found my identity in that, and my wife's at home taking care of 3 kids, 2 of them are sick, this and that, and she's not going to call me and I just want to remind you, I love you so much, baby, come home, this, that. She can't compete with that. And if I put that on her, she'll never measure up, which is why, you traveling salesmen and you men, you're looking for something outside of your home from these, business women and this and that. Well, my wife doesn't give me that and we lost that. Like, look, man, if your relationship is found with another person on that deceitfulness, is once you get it, it's never going to last, because if it was found on that, it's not going to last on that. So I always go back to, what does the Bible say? I always think it's a cheap excuse. Well, God knows my flaws and I'm just a man and he made me this way. Man, that's a lie from the pit of hell. That's not true. 1 John chapter 2, verse 1 says, my little children, I'm writing you these things so that you may not sin. Whoa, Matt, are you telling me it's possible to not sin? I'm just reading the Bible. I'm telling you so that you may not sin. And if anyone sins, we have an advocate in the Father, Jesus Christ. We use that as an excuse to sin, when that's not what it says. It says, if you sin, which means it's possible to not. Well, that's sacrilegious, brother. You saying, 1 John, if anyone says he doesn't sin, he calls himself a liar. That's not talking about that. It's talking about it's possible to not sin. You don't have to cheat. It's possible to not cheat because the Bible tells me so. If anyone sins, yes, you have an advocate in Jesus Christ, but you don't use that as an excuse to sin. And I'll end it with this. This is in Galatians 5:16. But I say, walk by the Spirit and you will not carry out the desire of the flesh. If you walk by the Spirit, you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. How do I do that? How do I do that when my wife doesn't have makeup on when I get home and she's up to her ears in garbage and trash and she doesn't make me feel appreciated? We don't have as much sex as we used to. It's because I don't put that on her. I walk by the Spirit, and I'm saying I as in you, as in us. You can walk by the Spirit and not fulfill the lust of the flesh. If you walk by the Spirit, you won't sin. You don't have to cheat. Don't kid yourself. Don't make a cheap excuse on, this is the way God made me, I'm a man, this and that, or blame, she doesn't give me this, she doesn't give me that. No, you go back to God, you go back to the Bible, and if you sin, not when, if, which means it's possible to not to. And if you walk by the Spirit, you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. You don't have to cheat. I hope this has helped you, inspired you, or changed you in some way, form, or fashion. Thank you so much for listening to another 7 Minutes with Matt.